my vision takes it. Whenever you're in need, it's myself I offer. Soft spot in my heart and it's getting softer. Weather the storm hunt and nothing will harm you. My ebony queen while I'm your knight in armor. Wish I could tell you how I feel. Here's a kiss. This love for real.
See just how I feel. It's for you.
This love for real.
You know this love is real. It's for you. Just see how I feel. Don't you know this love is real? It's for you.
This love for real.
See how I feel. Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. I love you, baby. I want you, baby.
This love for real.
Don't nobody hold me, don't nobody kiss me the way you do. Nobody, don't nobody hold me, don't nobody kiss me the way you do. Nobody. Not a day goes by that I don't burn for you. Find myself yearning for the heaven that you bring me from your black hands. Touch me, touch me. Wanna feel you inside me. All I want is you. Love on me.
I go, I can help but show I don't feel the same. Anywhere I go, I can help but show.
It's not the pale moon that excites me, that thrills and delights me. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. It isn't your sweet conversation that brings this sensation. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you.
Stay humble when they put you at the front of it all. Gotta learn to hold your tongue. That's why I always mumble when I talk. It's not my fault. I look good when I do what I do.
stimulate your mind. Hey, inside, I wanna know what's inside.
What up, though? Welcome back to another Media Man Live on this Good Friday, man. I know it's been a while. Your boy is back. Had to check in to do this live stream so we could discuss Black fatherhood. I noticed that I haven't discussed Thomas Sowell before, but there was a video that was sent to me that sparked this conversation. So I decided to take it upon myself to present the information that I always do, but actually go a little bit more in depth to see what people get wrong, who champions this stuff, and why the social media narrative is completely false about Black fathers. You know, this is where I tend to thrive. So hopefully I'll be able to educate you guys on the history of it and how we got to this point. So we're going to take a look at 3 polarizing figures that a lot of Black conservatives like to share. A lot of white conservatives and white people in general like to champion the Black conservatives to push this message when they're ill-informed of the actual situation on Black fatherhood. So I'm going to break that down as best possible. Before that, we got a couple videos that we're going to address that came across my feed on YouTube while I was away. So we'll definitely get into it. But, man, it's good to be back, man. It's been busy, a lot going on, especially with work. You guys see that we have a hantavirus outbreak. So being that I work in global health, we have been very busy. So it's very tough to get back and do original content, as you know, I guess that's how you put it, because I had to put out some of the replays of the videos and you guys tend to enjoy those. So I like doing that. I like reaching back into the archives and getting some of the videos that I already did and then reposting them, because there's a lot of people that are new here that haven't seen them. So when they get a glimpse of it, they're like, damn, man, I kind of understand the way that this channel is moving. And a lot of people tend to like it. So yeah, it's been a lot of videos that I did. I was laughing at some of them because some of the clips that I put in there, I forgot I put in at pause for the young folks. And I was dying laughing over here, man, at some of the archive content. But I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And I'm going to keep doing it as much as possible. Try and put out one at either 9 a.m. or 12 p.m. Every day. I think that's a good practice. So yeah, I think you guys enjoy it. So yeah, man, what's been going on? I know it's a lot been going on in social media, YouTube. My goodness, the whole Threads feed is about Dr. Bryant. I mean, Lord have mercy, that woman. But yeah, we're gonna touch on that a little bit and why I love Black women from this interview that Miss Bryant, Cheyenne Bryant, had with this educated Black woman on was it Fox News 5 on DC? But yeah, we're gonna take a look at that, man. But I love Black women, man. It's I was dying laughing at the interview, but good to see y'all here. Thank you, Olawa. Thank you, Pooh Man, for putting all the links in the description. Greatly appreciate it. Let me see here. Is the picture good? Sound good? Let me know. Moderators, good to see y'all here. Hope all is well. Blessings to you and yours. Let me see here. I think we got super chat. Okay. We got Dante Bryant. What up, though, with the $5 bomb? He said, Brother Double M, I saw bro went on Jeff St. James instead. He didn't want no smoke with you talking about reporting for duty like a Boy Scout. Oh, I know you talk about it. Shout out to Jeff St. James. Greatly appreciate what that brother is doing in these spaces. But yeah, man, honestly, everything, Dante Bryant, everything was said in my video. And like I told you guys, that's one of the main reasons why people don't share this type of content, because it kind of level sets the conversation. And you guys have witnessed in real time that a lot of people don't know Black men. They may know the narratives and the stereotypes, and that's what they tend to speak to, but they seem like they taken a liking to, I guess, know Black women more than they know Black men. And sometimes we take our messaging, the loudest people in the Black community, they will speak for Black men without fully understanding what we're actually doing out here. And that's unfortunate. And we're going to discuss that here in the breakdown. But I hope that my subscribers can understand what I'm talking about here and the ramifications that come with not knowing Black men fully in regards to the statistics. Okay? Because that has it has a trickle down effect in the Black community, because the more people, place Black women up here based on false statistics, then Black women are consistently looking down at Black men. They're saying, yeah, because everybody is telling us that we're the most educated. Everybody is telling us that we make more money than Black men, right? So I've always said, I honestly don't blame the Black women who hate Black men why they feel that way. Because if you were told over decades upon decades that your men were trash, that your men were in jail, they're broke, they're gay, it's no suitable men out there, how else would you see that group of men? And that messaging comes from those that are in the positions to have the loudest voice, because they have the loudest followers. They may be celebrities, and you know how the Black community likes to hang on the words of celebrities. That's why that Dave Chappelle joke always hits home, where he said, "Man, who the F care what Ja Rule think or whatever." But the Black community likes to put those type of people on the pedestal, but they don't have any formal training in what they're discussing. Even Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is a billionaire, but do you think he has time to go into the weeds and look at the statistics? Instead, he pushes the narrative. He says, well, Black women are making the majority of money, because he's consistently around Black women. So he's like, yeah, if I got all these high earning Black women here, I don't see that many Black men, then of course Black women are making the bulk of the money, because he didn't look at the statistics. But as an educated man, you have to make sure that you do the research if you speak so matter of factly about Black men, because that messaging is toxic. It's toxic as hell. And the women who already have a level of disdain for Black men, they are not open to discussion, consideration, anything. So that's why I always talk about the rule of 10. You got to let those people go. But the more that we have people pushing these false narratives about Black men, that number of women in particular, and Black men, as you guys have seen, it's going to get larger. So it's going to get to a point where Black men are going to start alienating themselves, or the Black men over here are going to start separating themselves from the collective. And that won't be good for anybody, because these Black men understand it. They're going to continue to thrive. And if you take that away from the Black community, then it's going to be a real problem. And I've been cataloging this for a while. I've been telling everybody about the marriage rates. I've been telling everybody about Black men increasing their earnings. I've discussed this over the past 3 years. I've shown Black women pictures and statistics and references and reports about the state of Black economics. I just posted a video trying to help Black women understand. Stop listening to the propaganda saying that you guys are doing so well, when the statistics show that you guys are doing worse. You're in a worse position than you were a couple of years ago. And nobody talks about this. And that's why I said it's very important for me to do this type of content. So at least, not necessarily to say I told you so, but to understand that I have been cataloging this, and I've been trying to help the Black community understand where we need the most help first. And that's why we're going to talk about Black fatherhood and motherhood and all those types of things. And if you guys haven't checked it out, I did create a Substack. I put out the state of Black women. So that is just a statistical rundown along with solutions on where Black women actually stand. That is my contribution to the Black community. So Black women can go there, look at the actual report, statistics. You can reference it for yourself. This is something that I've been doing for a while. And like I said, there has never been, I guess, either a social media personality, an educated individual in the Black community that has actually looked at the statistics for Black women. Black men have been picked apart. Pause. You know what I'm saying? We get think pieces on Black men damn near every day. It was a woman that put out the state of Black men, or dating Black men, or something like that. And of course, it was based off of, false narratives and statistics, and based off of a position of a woman who hasn't found the man for her. So when you have those type of think pieces, without taking your biases away, everything gets, twisted. But if you look on Substack and you actually read my report, you will see that I'm very fair, because I would not get up there and just show Black women where they lack without giving you solutions, along with it. Okay. And that comes from the fact that I do still care. It's tough. Not gonna lie. It is tough, to look outside of my circle of Black women that I love and adore and I take care of. But as a collective, I still care, but it's just very tough. with the amount of stuff that's going on, So yeah, so I'm still trying, man. So it's what it is. I know that was a little long, but I've been going for a while, so y'all understand. Jay Renard, what up, though? Member for 17 months, man. Thank you for the support all this time, man. Just made honor roll and catching the live win, man. Damn, that actually reminded me. I was supposed to get take a screenshot of my guy Jay Freeman. I don't know if you guys remember Jay Freeman. We used to go live when I first created this channel. I used to have a young man up here that I met through Facebook when I used to post videos on Facebook. And, I seen so much potential in this young man, and he decided to join the Army. You guys have heard me mention him before. He's an infantryman. He's married now. And also, he is a couple credits away from getting his master's degree from the University of Georgia. I'm so proud of this young man. And he sent me a picture of it because when he was applying to the University of Georgia, you know who he called to write a reference letter for him? Me. That's who. Okay. So I do that as well. I've written so many reference letters to get Black people in better positions while I was in the military, outside of the military. So I'm always open to supporting the ventures of Black people in general. So just to see Jay evolve into an upstanding Black man, a gentleman, married, in the military, doing well, and about to get his master's degree, man, I couldn't be more prouder. So I'm definitely going to send this to him because I forgot to respond to him, but I did not forget. I told myself to make it a point to mention that while I'm here. I'm very proud of you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. You and your brother, his brother decided to join the military. It's a beautiful thing. And these are the types of stories that, I wish to share more of. I remember I used to do that. I need to get back to sharing the contributions of Black men and also Black women on my platform. But Jay, I'm very proud of you, man. I wish you nothing but success. Anything that I can do to help, I'm definitely here. You know it. You have my direct contact. I try and respond as much as possible. But yeah, man, whenever you need to reach out, you need something, I got you. Okay. So yeah, Jay Freeman, man, that dude, he's amazing. So let's see here. All right. Cool. It's still buffering. I'm buffering. It's not good. What's going on, Olua and Poohman? Am I good? I'll wait. It's okay on my, okay, cool. We good. Thank you, Olua. Appreciate it. All right. Cool. Got to see that. All right. So we in there. So before we get into this breakdown, your girl Ebony K. Williams came across my YouTube timeline. And of course, she's given updates on her situation. If you guys don't know, she is Ebony K. She runs I think a TV show called Divorce Court or something like that, Holding Court. That may be her podcast name. But she is an attorney. I think she's retired or something like that. But she's a political pundit. She's been on, I think, Fox News before, been on a couple of reality shows. You guys are very familiar of Ebony K. Williams for her comments about the bus driver. You guys remember that conversation with Iyanla Vanzant? So yeah, so she is back on the podcast scene, just popped up on my YouTube, mainly probably because I've already covered her before. But she went on to a podcast called Off the Record, AWF The Record. And I recognize one of the women that was interviewing her. She's the spouse of a funny newsman, and she's a funny newswoman. She's a Black woman or Dominican woman that she shows people how she changes her voice from newscaster to her regular voice at home. And she used to talk to her husband in her news voice, and it used to be so hilarious. So I did not know that she had her own podcast, or they had their own podcast, but they had Ebony K. Williams on as a guest. And some of her talking points sound very familiar to a man that was in these spaces. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. And it made me, her conversation on this podcast, it made me create a readout for how high earning black women there are in the black community. And I'm going to, and I'll explain to you why. Okay. So let's get to it. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Air Force Reek, member for 18 months. Thank you, brother. Man, a year and a half. Salute Media Man in chat. Looking forward to this. No, absolutely, man. We're going to definitely dive into it, but let's have a little fun. I think this is informative for the women who may be considering a lifestyle like Ebony K. Williams. So she always does a great job of explaining herself and her situation and how she's comfortable with it. And that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to review this quick clip. And then you guys can go over there and watch the full interview because it was very informative, especially for black women who don't want the traditional household. I will say that much. Okay, so let's get to it. Fair use, fair use.
Historically and still today,
hold on, let's go back.
Men primarily, historically and still today, are assessed and valued around their economic ability. That has been the case and is still the case. And what are women assessed by? Because it's certainly not our hearts.
Yeah, our physical features.
It is our aesthetic, our beauty, and our youth.
Now, who does that sound like? Damn near verbatim. It sounds like Kevin Samuels. It's the same information that he was giving women on his platform. And let me just say this. All three of these black women are gorgeous. They're, in shape. They look amazing. So whenever you get a chance to compliment a black woman, I guess, I'm going to be the first one to do it. Yeah, they look amazing. So, and shout out to them. And they said that very quickly, our youth and our beauty. So even women who fit that criteria, such as these ladies here, they understand it. But there's a disconnect in the black community when you say messages like this. So I think Ebony K. Williams is necessary for these spaces. And I think more black women should listen to her message because it's coming from a place where you could be in the future if you decide to go the route of freezing your eggs and not, conform to traditional standards of a household. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I absolutely don't. I would love to see more black people get married. However, if you wanted any information on how to do this the right way, I guess you would go to Ebony K. Williams, if that makes sense. Okay? So let's get to it.
Let's name that. Let's name that piece. Because one of the main pushbacks that I got, in the wake of Bus Driver Gate, being a woman in my early 40s, is, well, especially how dare you old bitch,
That was funny. How dare you old bitch. Man, they be cooking in them comments, man. I hate it. I don't condone that. But that was funny, man.
Seriously. Yeah. Seriously. Because you definitely don't get no say because you've hit the wall. No. Anyway.
All right. So I want to stop there because she said you've hit the wall. If you guys remember, and since I have a Substack, I'm going to post it there as well. I actually did a think piece about how women create their own wall. And a lot of people were like, man, you know what? That's absolutely true. So Ebony K. Williams is saying that the comments are always telling her that she hit the wall. And typically we say that after a woman that gets to 35, her youth and beauty, her ability to have children decreases. We all know the talking points. I don't like people saying, dying alone and foolery like that. But I will say this. When I say that women create their own wall, it's because of their own standards that they place on their dating market. Okay? So when she did the interview with Iyanla Vanzant, and Iyanla asked her, would you date the bus driver? Ebony K. Williams didn't understand why Iyanla asked her that. But the reason why she asked her is because she wanted to know how many men you were going to leave or remove from your dating pool. So put it like this. Ebony K. Williams, I'm pretty sure she's a multimillionaire, right? This is fair. She got a lot going on, okay? So most women who make that amount of money, they want a man to make at or above their income level. And I think she said on multiple platforms that she would love for a man to pay all of her bills, even though she's a millionaire. Yeah, you can say make it make sense. It is what it is. Her preferences, the market will decide. But when you remove the quote unquote bus drivers from your dating pool, then that means you shrink your dating pool. That's what I mean by women creating their own wall. Because if you allowed those men who may make, a little bit less than you, if they were in your dating pool, you would have a better shot at finding what you want. However, this is where Ebony K is a little bit different. She sees marriage as, as men defined it. Men are in love, women are in business. So she sees it as a business proposition. So money is up here. And also in this interview, she said that she couldn't do 50-50. So that tells you right there, her dating pool is small, i.e., building her own wall. Women wouldn't have a wall if they just dated accordingly to their age and where they stand. Okay? But the problem is every woman on social media thinks they're a 10. And most people can't tell them otherwise. That's why I said it's important for Black women to listen to her, because she will tell you the truth, but she's also a spitting image of where you could be if you decide to go down this road. Okay? And you get to determine while you're young, is this something that is attractive to you? Do you want a life like Ebony K. Williams? Because it's going to take a lot of work. This is an educated woman. She has a lot of money. So her freezing her eggs, having a child, right? She had a little daughter about to be 2 years old. She had that child. She has the means to take care of it. And she was very matter of fact saying that she did pre-planning. She made sure that she had everything in place in regards, to financially to take care of this child. Okay. So if you are a Black woman that is looking to mimic what Ebony K is doing, then you might want to start listening to her. And this is not me telling her you need to change. Absolutely not. I want you guys to watch this interview. She is very matter of fact. She says that she's controlling. It's going to take a lot for a man to settle down with her. She understands exactly where she ranks. And you know what? She's perfectly fine with that. So, again, if you are a Black woman who thinks this is something that you want to do and you don't want to get married young and you want to wait and, pursue your career, she is the woman that you would probably want to listen to, because she's going to tell you all this, the pros, the cons. It is what it is. She mentioned that she lost friends in this, in this, journey of becoming a single mother by choice, because they were like, man, I think you could find what you want the traditional way, but she don't want tradition. And a lot of Black women don't want traditional. But again, freezing eggs, it takes a lot of money to do that. You don't just pay one fee to keep your eggs, encompassed in some freezer. No, you have to pay, I think monthly or something like that. I covered it a while ago. But yeah, so you have to be a very, well-off, affluent woman to do that. So it's not as easy. So if this is something that you want to do, I don't recommend it. But if you don't want to change or conform to what men are asking, this may be an option for you. Okay, let's continue.
But that was the retort. So let's just call a thing. Men, and I understand a lot of men feel a way about the fact that they are primarily on a romantic dating place. I'm not saying exclusively, I'm saying primarily assessed around what they can bring from an economic vantage point.
No, and she's saying that men have a problem with that. No, most men, the majority of men don't. They just simply understand it. And I was asking a young man in the comment section, he was like, man, as soon as I get my money up, then I'm going to put myself back in the dating market. And I asked him a question. I was like, so are you planning to give your money to the women once you make more money? And then he introduced the overseas thing. I'm going to go overseas. And I asked him again, do you still plan on giving women your money once you make more of it? And I don't think he responded yet. I'll check. But I'm always curious when men say that, because if you don't want to build young when with a woman and you're saying I'm going to make money and then find a woman, you're going to end up paying on the back end regardless, because now you really don't know why that woman is there. Okay. So she is saying that men have a problem with that. No, men understand it. But where the issue is that women don't understand that beauty has currency. So you don't want to, quote unquote, waste your pretty while you're young and then try and make it up when you get older, when kids are involved and things like that, because she's in a very, precarious situation because she has a child now. Okay. So that puts her in a different position. And everybody understands Ebony K is an attractive woman. She's 40 years old. This is an attractive 40-year-old woman. She's pretty for her age. That's easy. That's simple, right? So if you were to rank her on the 21 to 30 scale that I created, she would rank in that 21 to 30. But she has another barrier for a man to consider. She has a child now. So that may be tough as well. And also, she wants a man to make $1 million, millions or more. And also, she wants him to pay all the bills. And also, she's controlling. It's so much. But I think what's interesting about this interview is she is so sure of herself. She's matter of fact. And she's like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. You can take it or leave it. So I like the fact that women do that. And I also like when men do that. When they say, hey, I'm not ready for marriage, you can take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's very refreshing. So, hey, thank you, pretty boy, for the 5 Media Man memberships. Good to see you back here, man. I know it's been a while, but you always supporting your boy, man. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Good to see you here, man. Good to see some old faithfuls, man. If you got one of those memberships, please make sure you drop a thanks to Pretty Boy, and make sure you maintain it on the behalf of Pretty Boy. Thank you, brother. Blessings to you. Let's see. All right, so let's get back to it.
But then they get to call it love, because what's this thing I keep hearing? Men are in love, women are in business. They say women are in business because they're constantly assessing for the economics, as I just outlined, and conceded and acknowledged. And is not new, by the way. But men are in love, but that's really just semantics, because what you're calling love is beauty and youth and maybe even fertility.
And that's why I say, if an NFL player, a man of a lot of means, an athlete, what society sees as coveted, is with a woman who's not conventionally attractive, people are like, what's wrong? Something is misaligned.
And we hardly ever see it, if we're to be honest about it. And if we do see it, frankly, there's some other currency at play. If I can just go ahead and do what I do, which is rile the people up. Oftentimes when we see professional athletes, particularly black ones, with people that are not at the utmost standard of conventional beauty, they are what? White. They're white. And it's okay, because I'm going to...
Okay, she said that's a currency at the end. So that at the end of this clip, that's another example of black people not knowing black men, because she is under the impression that all of these black athletes have white wives. And she took a little dig there. She said typically if they do get these women that are unconventionally attractive, they tend to be white. But I remember I did a video a while back where there was a young man who was friends with a student athlete. And he said his friend was on his way to the NFL. And he was like, man, he was dating this girl, this white girl. And he was like, man, she would have his food ready. She would help him with his homework. She would get his clothes ready. She would just take care of certain things that needed to be taken care of while he was pursuing his dream of becoming an NFL player. And at the end, it ended up working out because they got married. But he also said in college, black women take a different approach. This is not all, just some. And I know it's not all, because I'm going to show you guys statistics here in a second. But he said that the black women were like, nah, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not cooking for no man. I'm not going to fold his clothes. I'm not going to help him with his schoolwork. It is what it is. That's their prerogative. But the way that these women are securing these black athletes in the minority is because they listen and they look to see where they can add value outside of the bedroom. Now, I did see the little think piece about how white women are taught to get black athletes, and I was reading some of the points, and I was like, damn, man, it's a lot of stuff in there that I think black women could adopt. If that's the case, if there's a blueprint out there on how to be more useful to these athletes, y'all may as well take some notes, because some of it was pretty simple. Most of it was essentially, hey, just be a feminine woman and help where he needs help. Take up slack where he needs help. Be a freak in the bed and keep yourself up. Why wouldn't you want to do that to somebody that has an upward trajectory at a young age? And that's how I took it. But I'm going to address their point where they said, like, yeah, typically it's a white woman. But again, that's where it's a lot of people that don't know black men. And we're going to discuss it here. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. All right. So to their point in regards to successful black men, they still marry black women. And you guys have seen me share this type of information before. So from the income-based research from the BLS report from 2021, 2022, black men earning $100,000 or more, 83% of married black men earning that amount have black wives. Okay? So who would be in that pool? The athletes. Fair? So only 17% are married to non-black women. But what happens is that's who black women laser focus on. They'll see that one black athlete, or they'll see Therese Halliburton going into a restaurant with a bevy of bunnies, right? And they'll be like, oh, see, black men. But I believe Tyrese Halliburton's mom is white and his dad is black. I mean, so what you gonna do? Okay? And I've never heard that man speak bad about black women. He ain't say nothing about that. I think Cameron actually asked him that question. So yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, but most of these black men that they point to and say, yeah, you know, they always dating these white women or marrying these white women. It's not true, but it's just what y'all focus on, because those tend to be the pictures that are shared. You guys will see it and like, oh man, look, another one. But the overwhelming majority of sports players are married to black women. If you go on TikTok, you can type in what is it called? They have a term for like wives and girlfriends or something like that. I forgot it. But you'll see a bunch, hundreds, thousands of black women married to black athletes, professional athletes, but they don't go viral because it's not controversial enough. So that's why I'm level setting the conversation. And I think our educated portion of the black community needs to be aware of this stuff. You need to know black men before you go on these platforms and say that all these black athletes are marrying white women. It's not true. Okay. And then this may help education-based research, college-educated black men. 85% of college-educated black men marry black women. Interracial marriage among college-educated black men is about 30%. Max upward, about right around there. So even with high income and higher education, black women are still the majority of the spouses. So we can go ahead and dead that conversation right now. Okay. I know it feels good to point at black men and say, you guys bunny hopping, but that is a overwhelming minority. Black men still love black women. It is what it is. Now, another point that I put out there today was based off of this conversation with Ebony K. Williams. And I learned that sometimes when she gives advice from her standpoint. She's an affluent black woman, but affluent black women are not the average black woman. And I think if Ebony K. Williams really wanted to get her message across to black women, she'll be very transparent and say, hey, look, my position is not the average black woman's position because I earn this much. The majority of y'all earn this much. Okay. So what I'm talking about, if you have, aspirations of getting to this point, this information may benefit you. But if you're trying to, incorporate this information now, then it may not be for you. But they rarely do that. And that's how the message gets twisted, because all black women will hear Ebony K. Williams, who is a millionaire. She's talking about her experiences in freezing eggs, raising a kid by herself. For the majority of black single mothers, that is tough. I see the statistics damn near every day. Okay. It is very tough. And I think it would help her message even more if she was very transparent about that. But since she hasn't done that, I'll go ahead and do it for black women. Okay. So in America, as of 2024, it's about 18 to 19 million black women over the age of 18. 46 to 47% of that are never married black women. And that's about 8.5 to 9 million. That is a large population category, okay? The largest, because only 29% of black women are married. Make sense? Okay. So black women earning $100,000 or more is about 900,000, okay? So that's about 5% or 1 in 20. So if you see 20 black women, one of those black women make $100,000 or more. And I know that goes against what social media tells you. Everybody balling. Every black woman is balling, right? But the statistics say different. And this is the type of information that Black women need in order to get their messaging correct. Okay. Now, 4, never married Black women, because the first, number 3, the point 3, that included married women. Okay. Never married Black women earning 100K, estimated about 350 to 450,000 Black women. That is 2% of adult Black women, meaning 1 in 40 to 50. So if you see 40 Black women or you see 50 Black women, that means that one of those women makes $100,000 and she's not married. She's never been married. Okay. So that puts things into perspective. 2%. Okay. Now, Black women's median individual earnings was about 49,000, little under 49,000 for the year 2025. Okay. So when you think of Ebony K. Williams, millionaire, her message is being broadly spread to all Black women. Can all Black women benefit from a situation or advice coming from Ebony K. Williams unless she makes sure that she says, hey, I'm speaking to the women who are able to do the 2%. That message doesn't resonate with the majority of Black women. But what I've learned from doing this for a while is that you'll have Black women receive this type of message from Ebony K. Williams, and they'll apply it to their lives, even though they may be struggling. And that's why you see these women on social media, you know, going public with their standards of what they will and won't accept in dating. You know, I need to go to a steakhouse. I'm not doing coffee dates, things like that. You know, and that's because you have messaging coming from a millionaire that's getting distributed to women who make, you know, the median average of $49,000. And that's what needs to stop. Okay. So, and I get it. Sometimes people, it may feel good to say Black women are thriving out here. I understand that. But that doesn't help Black women when you look at the statistics, when you look at the reports. Okay. What Black women need is the truth. And then they can make adjustments, or if they don't want to make adjustments, that is their prerogative as well. But they need the truth and the accurate information to do so. And again, it may hurt, but on my platform, I'm not worried about that. Okay? Because I know what I'm saying here is coming from a place of love. So we have to be more matter of fact, more direct with Black women and tell them where they actually stand, which is why I created the State of Black Women. You guys have to go read it on Substack. Black women, if you're in the chat, Ninja watching, read it, because you may benefit from some of the solutions that I put out there. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Man. I know I may sound like a broken record, but I mean, you gotta help as much as possible, bro. So shout out to Ebony K. Shout out to Ebony K. Shout out to Off the Record podcast. I think it was a good watch. I think you guys should go back and listen to it, especially the Black women who are, decentering men, or you want a dynamic of freezing your eggs and then becoming a single mother by choice. Ebony K. Williams will tell you exactly what happened to her situation and what she's looking forward to. And I think in that right, I mean, it may be beneficial. Again, I don't condone it. I would love to see Black men and Black women get married, but I'm definitely not forcing Black men to tell Black women otherwise. Absolutely. There are too many women out there that still want marriage. Black men can find them, as you guys see in the statistics. Okay? So yeah. So whatever you want to do, cool. Just get the best advice possible. But you're not going to get it from me. You will get it from Ebony K. Williams. All right? So go watch it. Let me see here. Dante Bryant, what up, though? $5 bomb said, thank you, sir. Same thing I said when I first saw it. Instead of complaining, why aren't y'all taking notes? Yeah, that's all that I'm saying, man. Like, I've never understood why more Black women don't listen to spaces like this. I know some of it can be very hyperbolic, and I don't watch that type of stuff. But when you have content like this and you look at my platform and you see statistical readouts, why is the first instinct to shame and insult and guilt and things like that? This stuff can benefit you. You know how many Black women I've helped during the consults in regards to getting information to help them, invest, with their finances, where to put money first, the 50-30-20 rule that we discussed. We did all this stuff, man. So yeah, so I like I said, that stuff I don't do that publicly, but if I did, you guys would be surprised. Sometimes it's been weeks where I do consults and it's majority black women, and I've seen it's funny. Some content creators, we'll talk to them offline. Yeah, you know, some of them shot they shot. But we ain't gonna talk about that. You know, I had to make sure I let them know. But yeah, so it is what it is. Oh man. It's funny. Let's see. Brennan, what up though with the $50 bomb? He said, Media Man, glad to have you back on the scene. I see you've been putting in that work on these videos. Keep it up. And I'm glad you're covering this topic tonight. A lot of conservatives and liberals spitting this nonsense. Thank you for the clarification. Absolutely, man. We're gonna definitely get to it. Thank you, brother. And that actually deserves a drop. I know I've been it's been a long time. So
I'ma just see these and bump into them, put gun to them, run through them, make them dookie, gas station sushi. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate the support as always, man. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna be right back, but listen to some of these smooth tunes from matter of fact, let's give black women some love while we here. All right. So I'll be right back. All right, let's get back to it. So, first things first, what we're going to do here, which video I do want to do, I want to play first, so you guys can understand why we're here. So, again, shout out to everybody that sent me this video. So today we're going to discuss Larry Elder, Charlie Kirk, and also Thomas Sowell. His name has been around for a while now. I don't think the black community gives him enough recognition because he has done a lot of research. This is an Ivy League educated black man. I believe he's in his 90s now, and he's still spreading the messages about the welfare state of the black community, family dynamics. There's a lot of things that I actually agree with him. However, people misconstrue his message, and also he misinterprets or he fails to acknowledge certain dynamics in the black household. And that's where I come in. But I want to show you this video of how black conservatives take messages from Charlie Kirk, play it on their on their platforms without doing research. And please, black people, listen very carefully to when white people call y'all blacks. You hear me? When you see white people call you blacks, the blacks, that's a covert way of calling you the N-word, if y'all didn't know that. Okay? The blacks, you hear that? Watch that, okay? And also listen, pay close attention to what Charlie Kirk is saying. He's going to say 2 statistics, and I'll stop him. Hold on.
Blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
Hold on, let me go back. Here we go.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
So
Okay. First part right there. Pay close attention. What percentage of blacks, right, have a father around? He said 20%. Right off the bat. Is that true? Black people? From what y'all learned on my platform, are only 20% of black fathers in the household? Think. Okay, let's continue.
80% of blacks do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a or a criminal.
And why
it's
do
not a
you think that's
racism
a problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women that they have impregnated.
And this the type of shit that you black conservatives listening to? Y'all gonna sit there and listen to this white man say this shit about y'all, and none of y'all said anything. I didn't know who this dude was until he passed. But this is who y'all was listening to? Talk about black men like this when you got the ability to open a fucking book? Yeah. That's why I put black conservatives in there. Sometimes, man, we got some. And she's sitting there agreeing with this shit.
Charlie Kirk, do you think that happens more in the black community compared to others?
It's threefold. Number one, we subsidize single motherhood. Number two, it's culture. It's accepted in the black community, and it shouldn't be.
Culture. Okay.
Don't take my word for it. Read Thomas Sowell's own book on how black culture allows single motherhood to continue into a nanny state type practice.
All right. Now, he said, read Thomas Sowell's own book. Which book? Y'all know Thomas Sowell has written or published over 20-something books. You know that, right? I've only gotten the chance to read 2, okay? But he's published many books. Which book are you talking about? You see, and people listen to this, and it sounds like he did his research, but all he did was listen to a Thomas Sowell podcast or something, and he doesn't know exactly what Thomas Sowell said. Luckily, you got an educated black man up here, and I do my research, okay? But I'm disappointed and I'm embarrassed by some people in the black community, because we have more than enough educated people, both men and women, in these spaces that would be able to challenge messages like this. But you refuse to do so. You'd rather listen to the white man. White ice is colder, right? Coming from him, so it must be true, instead of doing the research for yourselves. That's a problem. Okay? Let's continue.
75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75% of black youth are culture allows single motherhood to continue into a nanny state type practice. 75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home.
So, this is the same video. We didn't cut to a different video or nothing like that. First, what did he say? 20% of black fathers aren't in the household. Then, same conversation with the same woman. What did he do? What did he say? 75%? And y'all don't question this stuff? When I first heard this, I was like, hold on now. Which one is it? Black people, that comic set that Chris Rock did, where he said, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in the book, because N-words don't read. This is a prime example of this.
75%. Is that a bigger problem or not a bigger problem than whiteness, white privilege, or white supremacy? How
They
can
should
you
all
blame?
be addressed, and they're all related.
Okay, how is a white person to blame? Wouldn't it be more like smarter to be like, hey, that this is not about systemic racism. Like, stop impregnating your women and abandoning them?
Let's see what Larry has to say about this.
Number one social problem in America, by far,
is the epidemic not of COVID, but of fatherlessness.
You see that? Now, this is another one. This is Larry Elder, and she's putting this information out there from podcast clips without doing the research for herself. When I heard this, I was like, why is this dude saying this? And again, I agree that when fathers aren't in the household, that household tends to perform poorly. That's one of the things that I have consistently pointed out on my platform. However, when you say a blanket statement of fatherlessness and you don't put parameters around it, people like this woman right here, people like Charlie Kirk will say fatherlessness. That must mean the majority of black men aren't taking care of their children. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it is imperative to implement context. You need context to these conversations. Larry Elder fails to do that. Charlie Kirk failed to do that. And also, Thomas Sowell failed to do that as well. But that's why I'm here. Okay, let's get to it.
70% of black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother.
So again, 70% enter the world without a father. We're going to discuss all this. Here we go.
Up from 25% back in 1965. Now 25% of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely.
And he said, and the stats are clear. What stats? Y'all, what?
To be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-'60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. You know, when I say this to people, the pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. If you look at a young black male aged 10 to 43, that's young to me because I'm 71 years old. A young black man in that demo is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man, same demo. Young black man, real young, 19 and under, the number one cause of preventable death is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young black male. Same demo for whites, the number one cause of preventable death is unintentional deaths. That includes drug overdoses, automobile accidents, drownings. It's not until they get to number 4 that death is the cause. In America, 60% of the shootings, the robberies, and the homicides are committed by black people, often against other black people. Of the homicides in this country, half of them are black victims, almost all killed by other.
Now, did you hear that? Of the homicides, half. What is that talking point? That's that white ass talking point, right? 50% of the homicides are committed by black people. Okay. If you go on my platform, I've already done a breakdown of this. No. And also to his point, just mentioning this and not giving the context of saying most crimes are intra-racial, meaning that white people delete white people, black people delete black people, and so on and so forth. Why is that always missing in conversations like this? Because the way he framed it is that this is something that's abnormal to the black community. No, proximity crimes, this is what tends to happen. We hang around more black people. We're going to have more issues with black people. This is what happens. Okay? White people feel the same thing. And it's funny that they never mention the fact that, you know, violent arrests and violent crime, it's the majority of them are committed by white people. White people lead and rape white men in particular, child, issues, all this type of stuff. But they never mention this stuff when they're trying to spew off all this information about how bad fatherlessness is. And again, I agree that fatherlessness is an issue, but without context, it makes it seem like black men are failing. No. Okay, let's continue.
Blacks. How do you explain that if it isn't for the absence of father?
So, are you mad at what Charlie said? Or are you just mad at what Charlie saying it?
You see that? Now, this young woman right here, she has over 450,000 subscribers on Instagram. So what happens when a black person shares this type of content? You think about the Hodge twins, you think about Officer Tatum. Their audience is predominantly white, okay? And it was nothing but white folks and also black people in there agreeing. Well, there it is. That's the statistics. Charlie wasn't wrong. All this type of stuff. So it's somewhat of a grift to put yourself out there using false statistics. Get your fan base up from white folks to see a black person talk down about black people. It's embarrassing because none of these people have done the research to see what the actual statistics are on fatherlessness. Okay. And again, let's go ahead and share this real quick because I want to be clear. So, father absence is actually, it's a crisis in America. Okay. When the father is not in the household, it's an issue. So, research shows when a child is raised in a father absent home, they are affected in the following ways. Listen, greater risk of poverty, more likely to have behavioral problems, greater risk of infant mortality, more likely to go to prison, more likely to commit crime, more likely to become pregnant as a teen, more likely to face abuse and neglect, more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, more likely to suffer obesity, more likely to drop out of school. That's a problem. So when the father is out of the household, yes, you see these issues. And that's why I always tell black women, the single mothers, that's where the majority of our issues come from. Okay. And I want to address something after this. But the strengths of father presence, children with involved fathers have a strong foundation of child well-being. They are at lower risk for a host of poor childhood outcomes. Okay. So this is measuring the lower risk, lower infant mortality rate, low birth rate, emotional and behavioral problems, low neglect, abuse, low injury, low obesity, poor school, low chance of poor school performance, low chance of teen pregnancy, low chance of incarceration as juveniles, low chance of alcohol and substance abuse, low criminal activity, and low self-deletion. Okay? So I want to be very clear while I'm doing this breakdown here that there has never been a time that I've neglected any of this. I agree. When a dad is not in the house, the family tends to, perform poorly. So that's not the issue. The issue is Charlie Kirk spewing a message saying that 20%, 75% of, 20% of black dads are in the home. 75% of black men run off and they are absent fathers, blacks, as he says, right? That's my issue because black people hear it and they're like, well, I'm pretty sure this white man did the research, so I'm going to go ahead and take it at face value and I'm going to clip it up and say, was he saying, was he saying, was that wrong? Yes, it was absolutely wrong. And I'm going to show you here in a second. But before we get to that, let's go to Thomas Sowell video because, again, like I said, man, this is education, okay? And I'm going to slow down because I'm starting to get pissed off because I'm thinking about this shit. And I'm like, man, we supposed to be smarter than this. And I'm going to discuss this in a while, or, after I get done doing this breakdown. But I'm not going to lie, man. It has literally warmed my heart to see so many educated black women who I didn't know existed before this Cheyenne Bryant situation came along, to see them come out of the woodworks and see how strong that doctorate, network is. And you get to see the statistics in real time. You get to see these black women talk about therapy and how, they're licensed and things like that. I've listened to so many videos of actual certified and licensed therapists talk about the ins and outs of how much it took to get their certifications. I'm an education guy. You know what I'm saying? I want black people to be as educated as possible, both formal and informal. But just to see these black women, man, it gives me hope that we do have the educational power to understand this stuff, but we just failed to do the research. And that's the problem with this whole monetization culture. It's like, I'm going to say the most inflammatory thing, and I know it's going to do numbers, but it's hurting the black community. Okay? Goodness gracious. So let's play Thomas Sowell's video real quick, this quick one.
Mention cultural and social retrogressions. Again, I'm quoting. So they're getting better education and jobs.
That's right.
Okay. Now, you mention cultural and social retrogressions. Again, I'm quoting you. Arguably the most consequential of these was the decline in two-parent families.
Yes.
Close quote. Explain that one. Among African Americans.
Yes.
We're still talking about African Americans.
Well, you know, when they talk about things like this, they talk about the legacy of slavery.
Right, right.
And I argue, well, empirically, it's not that, it's the legacy of the welfare state. Because as of 1960, which is almost 100 years after slavery ended, the majority of black kids were being raised in two-parent households.
So, and as you guys know, I covered this. I did a full historical breakdown on the marriage rates for the black community. If you go on my Instagram page, you can see the actual readouts going by decade, okay? And also you can go ahead and watch my Monahan report review where I covered all this. So he is actually correct on that.
But within one generation after the welfare state, that had dropped down to a minority. So that the majority of black kids today are raised in one-parent households.
So that right there. Now, that's where he went wrong, okay? And that's what people hear. It went down to a minority. That's not true, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Give it time.
When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family, but one generation of the welfare state did.
All right. Okay. So thank you, Thomas Sowell. And if you guys want to do a little bit of research on this particular topic, one of his books that I actually read, this is what it looks like. So Vision of the Anointed, Self-Congratulation as a Basis for Social Policy. And you can go to this chapter 3, by the numbers. Okay. And you will hear him break this down. Okay. So before we even get started, let me show you where the majority of this information is going to come from. So this is from Bowling Green State University, National Center for Family and Marriage Research, published in 2022. So very new, okay? I just want to go down here real quick so we can just debunk one thing very quickly. Okay, right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll read it off. So it says, among race and ethnicity, among fathers of all race/ethnicities considered here, a majority had only co-residential children, meaning that they live with their children 100% of the time. And right here, you can see only co-residential for black men, black fathers, it says 55%. Okay? So, y'all college, y'all went to school, y'all college students. Is that the majority or the minority? Just based off of that 1% alone. Think about it quick. So is that the minority of black fathers being in the household or the majority of black fathers? I would say that's the majority, okay? So 55% of black men live with their children 100% of the time. That's it. Not 70% out of the household, not 20% within the household, not the minority of black fathers, not in the household. 55% just using that alone. And don't worry, I'm going to break everything down very clearly. Okay? So let's just get that shit out the way. Okay? I want you, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want people, because I am a statistician. Okay? So I don't want people to think that I'm cooking the book, so to speak, that I'm manipulating the information. You guys have access to this just like I do. So I didn't do any statistical, factors. I didn't take this percentage from here and put it over here to make this turn into that, turn 10 into 20, 20 into 30. No, I didn't do none of that. Just as that information that they try and spew out is on the, on the web, this is on there as well. Okay? Yeah, we good? All right. Lord. I'm going to go back to that one. I'll go back to here. So let's get to the breakdown. Yeah, let's start here. All right. And I'm going to try and get y'all out of here as quick as possible. But if you remember on Thomas Sowell's first video, the video that we just watched, his argument primarily focused on the decline of marriage and the rise of single-parent households at the household level. However, the Bowling Green State University NSFG data just showed you guys 55% of black men reported having only co-residential. I'm going to stop it right there, okay? So I don't want to go into the other statistics. This means that black fathers are physically present in their children's lives, even outside of formal marriage structures, okay? So therefore, single-parent household statistics should not be automatically interpreted as father absent statistics. That's where people go wrong. They will see single-parent households, but they forget that these houses may be cohabitating, they may be married. You have to factor those things in. And luckily for us, it's actually measured, okay? So cohabitation, shared parenting, multi-household parenting structures complicate, that narrative substantially when people push that out there. So, and again, I understand how social media works. Critics are going to point out that the CDC, NSFG data and the Bowling Green State University fatherhood data, it relied on self-reported surveys. That's true. However, older family structure reports, such as the Monahan report, also relied on imperfect measurement systems rooted in household classifications, marital status records, and census definitions, okay? So, in other words, both approaches have limitations. Household level data can sometimes be, obscure cohabitation, shared parenting, and residential father involvement outside of formal marriage. Meanwhile, self-reported survey data can introduce reporting bias or incomplete disclosure. The key issue is understanding what each data set is actually measuring. And like I said, the Monahan framework primarily measured household structure and marital status. They didn't measure cohabitation, okay? And again, the time of the Monahan report, he reported that it was a crisis when it was at 20 to 25% non-marital births. Now it's at 69.3%, okay? So yeah, so that's how we had the difference, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. I know how social media works. People are going to try and dismiss it, but I'm going to discuss that as well. But while we're here, let's go over the household dynamics because I don't think anybody has ever done this. So you guys can have this for yourselves, okay? Let's break this all the way down. So this is the household dynamics, the full picture. So you have, was it 5, 6, okay? So traditional two-parent households, which we're all familiar with. Married or cohabitating parents living together with their children. Those two people are married. That's one household dynamic. Stay with me. 2, cohabitating parents, which is very common in the Black community. Parents live together, but they are not married. Now, before I move forward, does that count as a father being in the household, even though he's not married to the mother? Does that count? Think about what I'm saying here. Shouldn't take long. If the father is living in the household with the mother and the children, but the only thing missing is they're not married, is he in the household? That's a trick question. He's there, okay? So, now granted, it'll be best if those people, trust me, bro, I would love the Black community to get married at a higher rate. But if that's not happening and cohabitation is working, then I will accept that, okay? So that counts. That's what these pundits forget. They go based off of marriages and also the non-marital births in the Black community. And they translate that into absent fathers, like Don Lemon said, okay? All right, let's continue. Single mother household with involved father. Child lives with mother primarily, but father is active, involved, and may have regular visitation or shared custody, okay? So that means he is not in the household, but he's still involved. That does not count as an absent father. The CDC has highlighted this multiple times. They always report that black men are the most involved fathers, even when they are non-residential. Okay, so that doesn't count as absent fathers. However, what the black community and these conservatives like to focus on is who is in the household. We already cleared up. It's 55%. Okay, let's just stop right there and keep going. So father co-residential, non-married. Father lives with the children without being married to their mother. So just the dad taking care of the children. That is a smaller percentage, but it happens. And those households tend to do as or better than two-parent households. Did you guys know that? When the father raises the children, the households tend to mirror two household dynamics, two-parent dynamics. All right? So multi-home parenting, child spends substantial time in more than one household with both parents. Okay? So that means the child is being, shared across households. Okay? That's not what the black community likes to focus on. We'll leave that. And then non-co-residential. This is where could potentially be the deadbeats. Let's just say that much. Father does not live with children, but maintains a relationship, and it varies by frequency and involvement. Okay? So that would be what people would consider the deadbeat dads. Okay? All right. And let's put this into perspective to give a clear picture. So this is for the household dynamics for how some households, statistics may classify this. So female-headed or single mother household. That is the paper classification. Okay? So the mother is listed as a householder. Parents may not be legally married. Household may statistically count as single parent or female-headed. And that's from the census, housing and tax classifications. But those, those households can still include cohabitating fathers, financially contributing father, or active involved residential father. Okay? It may not be a high percentage, but sometimes it does happen. Okay? So co-residential father, it means residential reality captured by the BGSU study, which means father lives with the children 100% of the time. Marriage is not required. Okay? Cohabitating happens. It includes married fathers, cohabitating fathers, non-married residential fathers. It is what it is. And up 55% of black fathers with minor biological or adopted children reported having only co-residential children. They live with their children 100% of the time. Simple. Okay? And this is what the breakdown looks like. I made it clear as day. So when you go do your research for yourself, yes, I'm saying when you go to the Bowling Green State University Marriage and Family Dynamic Report, you will understand what this actually means. We already covered 55%. Live with their children 100% of the time. That's not in question. That's a fact. Okay? But 18% live with both co-residential and non-co-residential children. Live with some, but not all of their children. So, the black men who may have children with two different women, they live with one of their children, but they don't live with the other. And as the picture illustrates here, you can see the little dynamic. Very simple, right? So part of that 18% belongs in the 55%. Okay, now you guys understand? All right. Now, 26% only non-co-residential children. You see the black man by himself. These fathers do not live with any of their minor children. Their children live with the mother or someone else. And then they may see their children regularly, occasionally, or rarely. Involvement varies widely. But we know CDC studies and the most recent report, 2018 report, non-residential family dynamics, they all say that black men are the most involved when non-residential as well. Okay? Even mothers, including black mothers, said the exact same thing. I covered this. Okay? Because most people were looking at that CDC report from 2013 and they were saying it's a self-survey. Black men, of course, are going to say that they're more involved with their children. But when you do a similar survey and you ask the mothers of black men's children, they all said the same thing. Y'all really think black women gonna lie on the behalf of black fathers? Think about what I'm saying here. If you put a survey in front of black women, you think, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna be kind to black women? Let me embellish if he's not really involved in the child's life. So let me go ahead and lie on the survey and say that he is involved. You think black women would do that? Hell no. Okay? Jesus. Hell no. Any chance? Yo. All right. So let's get back to it, man. Yeah, think about what I'm saying, man. They ain't none of that. They ain't lying on no black. They ain't lying for no black man. I'm gonna just yo. All right. So table of contents. We're gonna talk about who said what, the statistical confusion, the real data, the numbers people ignore, the invisible father argument, goalpost movement, and final questions. Okay. So let's start with, well, matter of fact, don't want to say anything about, yeah, let me go ahead, because I know this is a statistical driven breakdown of one of the most repeated narratives in American culture. 70 to 80% of black fathers are absent. Y'all just heard, dude, right? That talking point has been repeated for years by political commentators, social media influencers, viral pages, and even respected intellectuals have said the same thing. Names like, Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder, Charlie Kirk, Pearl Davis. Y'all listen to Pearl. Y'all used to listen to Pearl, and many others continuously enter this conversation. Okay, but let me make one thing clear from the very beginning. This presentation is not about pretending the black community has no problems. Okay, every community has problems. Every community has unstable households, AB, divorce, violence, neglect, addiction, and dysfunction. The issue is statistical exaggeration. That's always been my issue. The issue is people taking non-marital birth statistics, single motherhood rates, welfare discussions, and broader family instability conversations and compressing it all into most black fathers abandon their children. Y'all see how stupid that sounds? This is where the disconnect begins, guys and ladies. But we're going to separate the narratives from measurable data, emotions, emotional assumptions from actual statistics, and internet rhetoric from what the reports truly say. So again, we're going to, examine all those reports so you guys can have it for yourself, because this public perception shit, it kills black men. It does, man. So tonight, we're going to examine the claims directly, not emotionally, but statistically. I know I'm getting a little charged up, but it's sad, man. Yeah, so let's start here. Okay, so Thomas Sowell, he often discusses welfare and hold on. Let me go back. So Thomas Sowell often discusses welfare incentives, marriage decline, dependency, family instability, and long-term cultural consequences. A lot to which I agree with. And then you have Larry Elder, okay, who frequently discusses fatherlessness, crime, educational outcomes, and the importance of two-parent households. I agree. Now, this is where this guy comes in. Charlie Kirk repeated broader conservative talking points surrounding father absence, family structure, and dysfunction in the black community. Ask yourself why. And again, let me say this clearly. I actually agree once again with some of Thomas Sowell's broader concerns involving dependency on the government, policy initiatives for the black community, educational decline, and family instability. But that, again, that's not the issue. The issue is how many people online and reinterpret these broader conversations into the 70 to 80% of black fathers are absent deadbeats. That is not the same claim. And that distinction matters statistically, okay? Because again, non-marital births, single parent households, and actual father involvement, those are not identical measurements, guys. And even me saying that, it should start to click in your head like, yeah, I have heard people say the same things. It's funny. I keep adjusting my watch. Somebody was in the comments and they were saying, man, you need to take some links out of your, your watch. But I'm losing weight. I'm cutting, guys. So that's why. They used to fit me. But as you can see here, I lost weight. So, so I get you, man. That's why I'm adjusting my watch, because I haven't took links out because I'm still cutting. I know that's off topic, but yeah, but that's why. Okay, so let's go here. Hopefully you guys can see that. So one of the biggest problems in this conversation is, is category confusion. People combine multiple statistics together as though they all measure the same thing. They don't. Okay, so for example, you guys see non-marital birth rate measures whether parents were married when the child was born. Full stop. That's it. Single motherhood measures household structure. Full stop. Now, father residence measures whether fathers live with their children, and then father involvement measures caregiving and interactions. Okay? Those are separate measurements. But online, once again, people often collapse them into Black fathers abandon their children. That is statistically inaccurate, guys, because a child being born outside of marriage does not automatically tell us whether the father is involved, whether he co-parents, whether he provides support, whether he shares custody, or whether he's active in that child's life. And this is why the CDC and Bowling Green State University studies, that they matter so much, because those studies directly measure father residence, father involvement, and parenting structure. So instead of, assuming absence based solely on marriage status or the non-marital births, Black non-marital births. And honestly, I'm pretty sure you guys have learned that this is where most of the confusion begins online, because I hate to say it, Black people and people in general, they always say without, people here without father in home, and it mostly translate that into deadbeat absent father. Those are not identical claims. Okay. So if you look at this report here, so this is the often cited statistic. 69.3% of Black children are born outside of marriage. So what that actually measures, again, that is the mother's marital status at the time of birth. Excuse me. A little under the weather, but I make it through. Let's see here. Let's see. So, and what it doesn't measure is was the father present at birth? Does the father live with the child? So on and so forth. We just covered that. So the truth about this is non-marital births are a marriage statistic, not a father absent statistic, whether the woman is married or not. So from moving forward, if you were one of those people that were combining that and you saw 70% children at a wedlock rate and your mind automatically assumed that meant absent fathers, you're wrong. So correct it right now, moving forward. Okay? All right. Lord have mercy. So, this is just showing the statistical confusion. What are people actually measuring? So you got the breakdown, non-marital births, single motherhood. We just covered all this stuff, so you guys see that as well. I'll put copies of this on my platforms once we get done. Okay. So let's move to the data. So this is the CDC fertility data. Okay. One of the most important findings in this conversation was that 54% of Black men ages 15 to 49 have never fathered a biological child. And this is what I want you guys to do, if you care. I want you to research this report. And then I want you to put the first one, I want you to do this. Put in CDC fertility report, National Center for Family Growth, and then put 2006 to 2010. And then put 2011 to 2015. And then put 2015 to 2019. What I'm doing here is showing you trend analysis, okay? Because in all three of those reports, They damn near mirror each other. It was only one time where black men came close to being over 50% of, having children. But everything, measures, it was 46%. Stayed the same. And has been that way for the last 18 years that they have reported it. No significant changes. And you know who black men actually almost mirror white men, because only 43.9% of white men have ever fathered a child. Okay? Black men, it's 46%. So when you talk about, black men impregnating all these women, that shit is not true. So if you're saying that about black men, you saying that about white men too? Huh, black conservatives? Think about what I'm saying here, okay? If you're looking at black men and you think that we impregnating all these women, I guess white men doing the same thing. And also in the report, it actually says that. It said that black men and white men are damn near the same. Simple. Lord have mercy. Goodness gracious. And this is where the accountability comes in with black women. So 61% of black women ages 15 to 49 had at least one biological child. That is a major statistical distinction, because online narratives often create the impression that the majority of black men are irresponsibly fathering children everywhere. You've heard this. But the actual data does not support that conclusion. In fact, the majority of black men under age 50 don't have children, as just stated. Okay? So when you break this down, 39% of black women had no children. Okay? 17.1% had one child, 21.4% had two, 12.9% had three, and then 9.5% had four or more. But if you look at black men, 54% no children, 15-point difference, which is the largest gender birth gap among any race and gender. Okay? That should tell you something. Then you go to one child. 16.5% of black men have at least one child, and that's lower than black women's. 15.2% of black men have two, lower than black women's. 3, 7.2%, and then 4 more children, 7.1%. Now, why does that matter? That completely obliterates the conversation of all these black men are Cam Newton and Nick Cannon, are the three dudes that fathered 87 children with like 36 different women. 7.1% of black men have 4 or more children. So that's why I said when people thought that, Cheyenne Bryant was holding black men accountable by telling Nick Cannon and Cam Newton that they creating all these broken homes, black men over here, we knew better. We know what the statistics look like. We know that 9.5% of black women have 4 or more children. Make sense? So that should change the narrative in the black community that black men are just recklessly impregnating all these women. Black women are having children with a small group of men. So that's why the focus needs to be on who needs the help first. And it needs to be black women. Birth control. Okay? Start there. Lord have mercy. So again, statistically, black women are more likely to have more children in all of those areas. Okay? So that does not mean that black women are the problem. What it means is that the popular narrative surrounding black fatherhood is often emotionally exaggerated and statistically oversimplified. So, and if the goal is solutions, then statistical accuracy actually matters. Make sense? And I got another fun fact for you guys, and this was going to trip you out because it was one who said, was it Charlie Kirk or Larry Elder that said, when a black child is born, the father is not there, the father is not present? I got something for y'all asses. Check this out. Y'all see this? Take a look. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, whoa. Let's go back. 66%. Look at the top right there. What does that say? What does it say? 66% were there at birth. And this is another important CDC fertility statistic that people rarely discuss. 66% of black fathers were living with their child's mother at the time of first birth. That includes married and cohabitating households. That is 2/3. Black women's number is lower. It's like, I think it was like in the 40s or something like that, maybe 41%. So again, this directly complicates the stereotype that people often push online, because the stereotype, y'all know it, Black men are overwhelmingly abandoning women and children, right? Just heard it. But the actual data shows most Black fathers were physically present in the household when the first child was born. Now, that does not guarantee every relationship stayed together permanently, right? Doesn't guarantee that. But it does challenge the idea that the majority of Black fathers were never there in the first place. Make sense? And that distinction matters. So what am I giving you guys here? Context. All this has been context. Jesus. Goodness gracious. And I did a breakdown for this. We already covered this, but the 73% of Black fathers had co-residential or shared residential relationships with their children. So that could be upwards of 73%. Okay. So yeah, so the majority of Black fathers are either living with their children or they're involved. They're actively involved. And it could be higher because, again, the rest, the 26%, that doesn't mean that the other Black men aren't, involved in their children's lives. But for the sake of the conversation, to not muddy it up, we'll just leave it right there. But we already established that 55% are living with their children 100% of the time. The argument was never Black men are coming in last with being involved in or living with their children 100% of the time, even though we do come in last, and that needs to improve. So yes, we do have room for improvement, but the argument was always that Black men don't live with their children. And we just cleared that shit up right now. Okay? Lord. Let's go here. And this is just the narratives that people, what people say and what actually matters. So people, you guys heard 70% out of wedlock. I already covered this stuff. We don't need to go over it again. But I do want you guys to understand the difference real quick. So absence is not the same as involvement. You guys understand that. So the key idea is whether a father, where a father lives does not equate to how involved he is. So a resident father lives in the same home as a child, lives in a different, non-resident father lives in a different home than the child. Involved father actively engaged in the child's life regardless of residence. So those are three distinct differences. Okay. Now let's talk about the goalpost shift, because I know it's going to happen. It always does, because this conversation surrounding Black fathers, it always becomes very revealing, because I notice how the standards, they keep changing. First, it will be Black fathers are absent. And then it'll say, once you debunk that, then they'll say, well, residential doesn't mean involved. You see how they move the goalposts? So so basically what people are saying, if I say that 55% of Black men live with their children 100% of the time, they'll question that and say, well, that doesn't mean that he's involved. There's a lot of women out there that are married but single mothers. You guys have heard this dumbass argument before. On a balance of probabilities, if the dad is in the household, he in the child's life. Stop. God damn. And then they'll say, well, surveys are self-reported. And then they'll say, what is it? Well, Black men could secretly be lying. Okay? So I want you guys to notice how the methodology suddenly becomes invalid only once the stereotypes start collapsing, because nobody questions the surveys, the political polling, sociology research, domestic violence surveys, Pew Research, or self-reported data. But you know what they use? Self-reported studies, self-reported surveys. So if you're going to remove the Black fatherhood involvement data, then you got to remove all this stuff here. And you know what that means for Black women? Y'all can't be running around here saying that a Black man deletes a Black woman every 4 to 5 hours, because those surveys are done by, they're reported by self-surveys. Make sense? So if you're going to remove this or not accept that, You can't accept that other shit either. So it's political season. Can't accept that either, right? Y'all understand what I'm doing here? All right. This is like funny when negative conclusions about black fathers were being promoted as cool. But once the data complicates the stereotype, suddenly everything becomes suspicious. Oh, it's a self-reported study. Data don't matter. Black people don't even get self-surveys. Brother, I work in the field. What are you talking about? It's crazy. And it's not objectivity, man. It's an emotional attachment to that narrative. Okay. And I've covered this before because nearly all major social science data relies on self-reported surveys. All the things that I mentioned, the political polling, the obesity statistics, ladies, income surveys, marriage surveys, public health research, they all rely on self-reported surveys. So if self-reported data suddenly becomes invalid only when discussing black fathers, that should raise some serious questions about bias. Make sense? That will let you know, black conservatives, if you're listening to a racist who's sitting there calling you blacks to your face. You dummies. God, dog. Let's cover this. So, why are people angry at the data? And once we get to this point, I think the issue becomes psychological because many people became emotionally attached to those black apps, deadbeat dad father stereotypes. And again, social media rewards, outrage, negativity, and dysfunction. Negative black narratives, they spread faster online than nuanced statistical discussions. Why the hell you think Dondre Whitfield didn't share my video on his platform? Because it was some uncomfortable truths in there that black women probably wouldn't take a liking to. And sometimes when you have platforms like this, where you say that you're speaking up for women, we all speak up for women. But that also means holding women accountable as well. And sometimes these men who have predominantly female platforms, they pander. It is what it is. So they can't rock the boat. So that's why I wasn't surprised when he said, I'm not going to give him no shine. I wasn't disrespectful. I'm never going to be disrespectful to another black man unless he's disrespectful to me. Right? So again, man, when somebody finally introduces, the CDC reports, what the hell is that? Fatherhood studies and actual statistics, people become uncomfortable. Not necessarily because the data is false, but because the data actually interrupts a belief system, especially in the black community. The whole blame Jermaine thing has literally been debunked just off this hour-long conversation when it surrounds, black fatherhood. And that's why correcting misinformation about black fathers often creates a certain resistance online, because again, think about this. People are comfortable repeating the 70 to 80% of black fathers are absent. But once once the data complicates that narrative, suddenly the CDC is questioned, surveys are questioned, the methodology is questioned, and the standards keep shifting. That's the real issue. Okay? Lord have mercy. It's very simple, man. And then before we finish this, I'm going to leave y'all here with some questions that you can ask yourself, okay? And this is very important. All right? So I want you to ask, did the data directly answer the claim? The main claim was the majority of black fathers are not in the household. 70 to 80% are deadbeats and they are absent. Did I address that? Let me know in the comments if I need to go, go a little further. Did I address that point? Okay. Were non-marital births confused with father absence? Did I address that? Did the goalposts move once the statistics were introduced? Excuse me. Did I introduce that? Were the original claims exaggerated? Did I address that? Why does the truth create resistance? I addressed that. Why were these statistics not researched before the narrative spread online? Ask yourself that question. Is it for money? Is it for followers, likes, clicks, and views? And most importantly, man, Am I following evidence or defending a stereotype I am mostly accepted years ago? And that's something that you guys can ask yourselves, okay? Because this presentation was never about pretending every Black household is healthy. Every community has unhealthy households, but only the Black community consistently has its worst case scenarios inflated into the identity of the entire group. And that distinction matters, guys. Okay? And like I said, I agree with many of Thomas Sowell's broader discussions, involving the welfare incentives and how, Black women, I guess it was tough. And I'm going to re-release that video so you guys can understand how this welfare queen narrative happened among Black women, okay? But I agree with Thomas Sowell, family instability, the marriage decline. The issue is not that those discussions, exist. The issue is how many people online transform those broader discussions into that 70 to 80% of Black fathers abandon their children. That's the disconnect, because y'all just saw the data, okay? And again, every community has issues, all right? Every community. But exaggerated narratives about the Black community, it definitely distorts the reality. And once you know the majority of Black fathers are residential fathers, right? Then the focus must shift toward prevention. Black women, I'm talking to you. Marriage before children. Family planning. Reducing instability and lowering future single parent household creation. Because I want to leave y'all with something. If I'm telling you that 69.3% of Black births occur outside of marriage, prevention matters, education matters, planning matters, okay? And reducing future instability matters, especially for the 39% of Black women who currently do not have children, okay? I know the 61%, they already got kids. Some of them married, some of them not, okay? The majority of them not married. But we still have 39% of Black women who don't have children, okay? So these types of messages needs to get pushed to them as well. And you know where you can read that, Black women, about these solutions? The State of Black Women on my Substack report. It's all in there. It's there to help, okay? I touched a little bit of the solutions, but I go way more in depth on my my report, okay? And like I said, this presentation, again, was never about denying problems. It was about correcting exaggerations, because statistics should matter more than narratives. And if the statistics only become invalid once Black fathers statistically look better than expected, then the issue was never truly about data. It was simply about protecting a narrative people emotionally wanted to believe. And it paints black men bad. The Blacks. You see these Black fathers? They're bad. Black men are bad. That's why I'm addressing this. Okay, guys? And I know, hold on. And I'm going to play this quick video that I did a while back to explain to Black men, because I know not necessarily the backlash, but the issue that Black men have with accepting that Black men have always been involved in their, in their children's lives. It's like, well, now we can't blame Black women. You see what I'm saying? Since Black men was in the house, then that means we're the problem as well. Two things can be true at the same time, guys. So Black men, if you have not seen my video, you're about to see it now. So this should calm your dang nerves. I was going to cuss. Listen. Speaking directly to Black men. When we repeatedly say that fatherless households explain everything wrong in the Black community, we unintentionally erase our own progress. We ignore declining crime, rising graduation rates, and the reality that most Black fathers have been present in their children's lives for decades. Those improvements did not happen by accident. They happened while Black fathers were involved, sometimes married, sometimes co-residential, sometimes non-residential, but still engaged. Over roughly 7 decades, marriage patterns changed, but Black father presence was never the majority absent condition. So, if we want real solutions, we have to start by telling the truth. Also, there is another layer to this conversation that we rarely address honestly, and it explains why some black men hesitate to acknowledge that black fathers have historically been present. Many black men worry that if we admit that fathers have been there, then responsibility for the problems that exist in the black community will be shifted entirely onto black men as a group. In other words, there is a fear that acknowledging father presence automatically turns into blaming fathers for everything that goes wrong. And I acknowledge that that fear is understandable, but it is based on a false choice. What the data actually shows is that most of the serious negative outcomes people point to, chronic poverty, instability, incarceration, and educational failure, are concentrated within a minority of households, not spread evenly across the black population. Those outcomes are disproportionately associated with single mother-led households, largely because of economic strain and resource limitations, not because mothers are bad parents and not because fathers being present somehow cause those problems. So this is where two truths have to be held at the same time. Yes, the majority of serious social and economic challenges are concentrated in a subset of single parent households. And yes, black fathers have still been present for the majority of black children historically and today. Acknowledging father presence does not mean denying that some households struggle more than others, and it does not mean blaming black men for outcomes that are driven by structural inequality and concentrated disadvantage. This mistake happens when people confuse where problems are concentrated with who defines the community. The minority of households experiencing the most severe hardship does not represent the majority of black families. Most black children are not failing, not incarcerated, not chronically poor, and not disconnected from fathers. Those realities exist alongside one another, not in contradiction. So, black men, you do not need to erase yourselves from history to explain hardship, and you do not need to accept collective blame to acknowledge presence. Father presence has been the norm for most black families, while the most serious challenges have remained concentrated in a smaller segment of the population. Both of those statements are true at the same time, and understanding that distinction is essential if we want honest conversations instead of self-defeating narratives. All right. So again, I just wanted to play that to kind of calm black men's nerves, because I know the whole blame Jermaine dynamic, because I've heard it. I've seen it in the comments. Well, if he's saying that black fathers have always been there, then why all our families effed up? No, it's a small subset of the black community that's experiencing the most issues, typically single mother households. Everything leads back to single mother households, okay? And again, if you really care about helping the black community, we're going to have to help single mothers. And we got to stop, trying to point the finger at all black men. And we got to focus our attention on what do we need to do and or change in order for black women to understand that once you become a single mother, you typically have a tougher time, at doing life. It's a tough road. Trust me. There's thousands of women complain. Man, while I was getting prepared for the show, shout out to Average Man Unplugged. I was listening to a video of his that he just released, I think today, where he had like a compilation of women literally crashing out and like begging to get a man to help with 50-50. And I need help with these bills. I need a man in my life. It was a lot of empowerment maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But now things starting to come to fruition. And you're starting to see women be more vocal by saying, yeah, I need help. But y'all asses may have burned that bridge, because now you're looking at men as a utility or a paycheck when it's not really something that you actually want. You just need help with the bills. And unfortunately for y'all women, men are starting to understand that. Okay? So y'all spent all this goddamn time talking shit about men and how you don't need men, but now you're on social media complaining. But you got platforms like mine that tell men don't fall for that foolery. It's unfortunate that you're in that situation, but my responsibility is to make sure that the men over here are protected, especially protected from women who only see men as a utility and not something that you need, and something that you actually desire. You just need help with the bills. They ain't falling for that shit no more. And that's y'all fault. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a whole lot to get those men back. Because if you haven't noticed, it's a lot of black men that have been checking out. The interracial marriage rates have increased because they listen to y'all. And I told you, that's the worst thing that could have happened to black women. Men actually start listening. The more that y'all say, don't talk to us while we in the grocery store. Some woman went viral recently, I think she was in Bali or somewhere. complaining about a black African man not talking to her overseas? Have you not been listening to the discourse that y'all sisters been telling these men over here? Telling them not to speak to them in the gym. Don't speak to them in public. You don't think that shit matters? And I'm talking to the women who are silent. Oh, that ain't me, though. It is you. Because we don't hear you. We don't see you combating these women that's saying that shit. It puts y'all at a disadvantage because now all these black men think all of y'all feel that way because your ass decided to stay silent while these women fucking up y'all reputation. That's y'all fault. And I don't give a damn about what people say about black women are excelling. I see the statistics. They need help. Okay? And if y'all too stupid to, look at the statistics and tell black women 2053 is going to be here very shortly for them. Okay? Go look at the most recent BLS reports. This first quarter, black women earned less than they did in 2025's first quarter. Have I been cataloging this shit for the past 2 years? Did y'all know that? Have you ever heard anybody say this to black women? That y'all weekly earnings, y'all earned less this quarter than last quarter. Nobody's talking about this shit, right? Interesting. So while you telling black women that they're excelling and the most educated, they fucked up out here, okay? And I wouldn't be doing my job as a man who cares if I didn't tell them that, okay? Everybody got problems, but you know what? Black women got more problems, and we need to start addressing this shit now, okay? Shit crazy, man. It's embarrassing. The black community, and that's some of the things that I agree with Thomas Sowell. We rely too much on certain, false narratives about doing well in this area. I point everything out, man. We're not failing in everything. We just need to do better. It don't help with this pandering shit, okay? The shit is dumb. And another thing, man, I seen Melissa Ford's ass. She put out a Substack article talking about simp. When a man speaks up for women, men call him a simp. No, the issue when men call guys like she mentioned Deontay Kyle, Jason Wilson. I like Jason Wilson and Ryan Clark. When they speak up for women, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's like, no, the reason is that those men fail to see the whole truth, especially about black men. The majority of them men don't know black men, okay? So that's why men call them simps, because they refuse to look at what's actually happening in the black community, in particular with black women. So that's why I feel comfortable enough to sit here and tell black men how it is. And you know what? To tell black women the exact same thing. I don't care. I don't. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to tell the truth. Okay? And if that offends you, you got to go. So if you, Melissa Ford, are saying that that's what you consider a simp, the guys that, that speak up for women, you don't think I speak up for black women? Every day, every time I come on this live stream, I make it a point to say something positive about black women because I'm trying to hold on hope because I take care of black women. Okay? I still love black women. But the more y'all keep pushing these dumbass narratives about black men feeling a certain way about certain content creators, there's always a reason. And maybe you should start listening. Okay? It's goddamn crazy, man. We got some fairy tale ideations, man. This is all bad. It's sickening. It's certain conversations that I literally cannot watch because it's so ill-informed, especially about the black community, in particular black men. I can't watch it. I cannot sit there and listen to people, to be as educated as I know black people can be and are, for y'all to sit there on social media and just lie for clicks, likes, and views. That's the dumbest shit in the world. We could be actually making some necessary changes if everybody just knew the truth. It's embarrassing, man. And then Melissa Ford, she pointing to Russell Wilson and shit like, man, bro, I'm past that conversation. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. She mentioned that, oh, man, black men prop up Future and whoever else Sierra slept with or whatever. It's like, man, the bottom line, all them niggas got access to her. That's what men see. You know that? So no matter how you talk about Future and how many baby moms he got, guess what? Sierra decided to sign up to be baby mama, whatever. They all got access. Okay? So that's what men see. Men ain't got no problem with Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is a stand-up man. Okay? He made a decision to marry a beautiful woman. But that does not negate the fact that Sierra gave all the men that you mentioned access. So what does that say about her? Think about that. We got all this marry the nerd conversation. How did Future get access to this upstanding woman? These are the conversations that the black community needs to understand, because the majority of the time, the shit don't work out like that. You know what happens? That woman typically ends up left with a baby by a dude who got multiple women pregnant, and she never gets married. I already showed the stepfather statistics. Russ is an anomaly. It rarely happens. Okay? 5.9% of men, I believe, live with any stepchildren. It's very rare. So I understand why a lot of black women put him on such a pedestal, because he makes the money. You know what I'm saying? The dude is successful, but he's rare. So get rid of that shit. And I promise you, that 5.9% is decreasing by the damn day. Every day till your back give out. Shout out to Jago. Friend Steven. Okay, let's see. Always got a joke. Every day till your back give out. All right. I'm gonna cut that out when I clip out. Yo, let me show you why I love black women, man. Let's listen to this quick Cheyenne Bryant interview that she did with this lovely black woman on the news. Till your back give out. All right. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna find it. Give me a second, guys. Oh man, I got super chats. I've been talking. I know y'all pissed off. Hey, brother ain't recognize my super chat. I got you. Let me just pull up this video and then I get the super chats first. Somebody, is that me on a? Oh, okay. Somebody clipped a piece of my video up and I'm looking at it. I'm like, is that me? That is me. Okay. Okay, here we go. Wait, let me pull it up. This shit is hilarious. You know, and I know Olua, if Mona was in here, y'all, black women understand a certain shade that they can do to other women. And it's very subtle. Very subtle. Cheyenne Bryant thought she had a friend in this woman. And I'm pretty sure Olua will recognize it. She's so soft, so sweet. This beautiful chocolate woman. Just a perfect. Oh, man. Hold on. I'm laughing. Y'all ain't even seen the video. I know y'all seen it, but you got to watch the subtleties. How black women, they just move differently, man. And I love it. Because I'm funny, man. Yo. They good at what they do. So we just gonna watch a little bit of this. Here we go. All right, let's get to it. Fair use. This is from Fox Local in DC. Here we go. It's titled Dr. Cheyenne Bryant Talks New Book Controversy Over Credentials, Doctor Credentials. Here we go.
I have to ask you this. I have a segment here called Motivation with Marissa, and I know you're a motivator for many people, and oftentimes when you have that role, that moniker, you're the strong friend. Yeah. So I got to check in on strong friends. I want to check in with you because you've gone viral recently. People questioning your credentials, whether you should even be giving advice that you're giving. How are you doing, particularly within the last few days?
Thank you for asking that. I love that. I'm actually.
You see that? Thank you. I love that. Oh my God. I love him, man. Here we go.
Doing really good. I don't know a person who has received this amount of free marketing It couldn't have happened in a better time for my book that just, launched a couple days ago. And within 24 hours, we made the bestsellers list, not only for print, but for the ebook. And so that's very exciting. Also, I know a couple of things. There's promises that God has for us. He says that all.
See, now look, this is, man, I'm a God-fearing man, but this is where I kind of check out. I don't like when people bring God in and say, God know my heart. God probably looking down like, lady, just tell him that you ain't a doctor. Don't put that on Jesus. Oh, don't put that on God. Don't put that on my God. Okay.
Not some, all things are working for your good. He also says that not to get weary in well-doing. And he says that I give you much territory and your job is to possess it. And my job as God is to protect it. I protect what I give you. And so when territory is expanded, God says that the cross gets heavier. And if you cannot carry a heavy cross for the expansion of the territory I gave you, then guess what? Maybe you're not ready, because to whom much is given, much is required. And so it's important for people who are in service, in leadership positions, to not
So look at the woman. She's waiting to jump in like, man, I need to stop this foolery, because I want to say something. And she gonna try it. But when Cheyenne Bryant is talking, she reminds me of Martin, You So Crazy, when he was, basically one is, as human beings, you see, because when we grow as another people, basically, brother, you got $5 I can borrow. That's what she sound like.
personal lies, right? When you have folks who come in and attempt to crucify what you have going on, because your job is to not get weary in your service. And I'll land on this. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his word, my sheep will know my voice, even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
with the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof?
Yeah, let's just get back to this. I love her, man. Let's just go ahead and get back to this. Why not just provide the proof
of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles. It's in how effective I've been.
Man, look, what better way to shut the whole internet up than to just show your degrees? You should have pictures at your graduation. You know what's funny? When this conversation has been, going around, you know what I did? I was like, hold on now. Let me go find my degrees. I had to go upstairs and go into one of our storage closet. All the stacks of all my certifications, all that shit is in there. I need to hang this shit up. And I definitely went to the portal to go grab some unofficial transcripts. Y'all think I'm bullshitting. To grab my unofficial transcripts. They are right here. Oh wait, I can't see that. But yeah, I got my unofficial transcripts and I ordered my official transcripts. I was like, well, let me go ahead and get mine on. So it did make me think, like, man, hold on, I don't want this shit to happen to me. I definitely want, if I want to go back and get a doctorate, I need to make sure my shit in order as well. So it did start that conversation. So yeah, just show it, Dr. Bryant, you good.
All of my sessions have been live for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world.
I didn't know that she was considering that a session, a therapy session. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that she considered that like an actual official like intervention with Shannon Sharp and Nick Cannon and whoever. Can you, and I know you can't do that because it was beautiful black women all across the internet, certified therapists saying, no, we didn't know that that's what you considered that. How? Publicly? Man, hell no. Oh, okay.
To see, right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live.
That's a session?
And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective. I am effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm...
You see that? You see? She tried to get in, but Dr. Bryant still trying to explain because, as one human being, you see, because when we grow as a people,
successful in my lane, and I'll land on this, I created my own lane. And so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't admiration turns into envy. And you got to be okay.
I
and
see
you got to
that
be okay
view
with
it,
that
yeah,
in
as
that
an
space.
attack. But I think, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them in service to them.
Look, you see how she's affirming her? How Cheyenne Bryant is affirming? Yeah, you do. You have to say it. Let me stay sweet.
Absolutely. Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth the plural degree?
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book.
Did you see that? She's trying to redirect the conversation. Hey, this black woman on her ass.
So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that.
See, she cut off the conversation. Like, no, don't ask me no more questions.
Yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Oh, did you catch it? You just did you catch the shade? Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I love black women, man. Look at it. Listen.
And I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that. Yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby.
I love him. Bro, I'm sorry, man. Black women catch an L for black women, but I love him so much. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. She's good. I like her. Hold on.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Look, you see that? She thought she was getting a little high five. You know, she didn't want to leave her hanging though. You know what I'm saying? Wait, look.
We're going to leave it just as that. Yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's where, and you're standing by
You ain't got a friend with me, and you standing by that bullshit.
Standing by it. Yeah,
right.
because I earned it. Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
No,
thank you. I know you're going to hang around. And
I want to thank you for asking the hard questions.
Well, I
appreciate
to. You know,
that.
I'm a journalist with 2 degrees.
Oh. Did you see that? Did you see it? But see, I'm a journalist with 2. Yes, 2 degrees. That's me. That's where I'm at with mine. What about you? What say you? Yeah. Hold on. Is she gonna drop names too? Yeah.
Thank you. I know you're going to hang around. And
I want to thank you for asking the hard questions.
Well, I
appreciate
to. You
that.
know, I'm a journalist with 2 degrees at the end of the
How
day.
many?
And so I had
How
2.
many? Come on, girl.
Yes, Northwestern and Emory
Come on, girl.
University. So I
There
had to
you
make
go.
sure I display that as well.
She said, I'm going to make sure I display that for you and all the people from Northwestern and Emory University. That's where I'm at with mine. Because you see, I have mine and I'm not afraid to say where I got mine because you ain't got yours. And I know that. So I'm going to just go ahead and let you know where I'm coming at with mine. So you... I love black women, man. You can't make me hate them, brother.
As a journalist. So thank you for coming and for hanging around.
Oh, this is so good. Man, I laugh so hard. It's just a little subtle jabs, you know, like, hey, you know, little smidgen of shade, you know, hey, you know, my 2 degrees from these universities, you know, you thought you had a friend in me, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this, you know. I know she talked about this conversation when she went home, you know what I'm saying? It was just funny to me. I know I ain't supposed to be laughing at this shit, but like I said before, man, shout out to, you know, to this woman. I got to catch her name. I'll definitely put it up here, but what this conversation has showed me is that there are so many educated black women. And if you didn't know, black women actually earn more doctorates than black men. But all races of women earn more doctorates than their male counterparts. So let me just go ahead and put a pin in that, okay? And then also, black men tend to earn more STEM degrees than black women, okay? So as of now, 31% of black women over the age of 25 have a bachelor's degree or higher. And then also, I'm going to put the prompt in here as well. So, you know, they have more doctorates than black men, and all women have more doctorates. But the reason why I brought that up is because there are so many educated black women and doctors that I've seen pop up that I didn't even know existed. And I want to check out some of their content. And I know this is kind of a negative thing that I got a chance to see them, but it definitely made me proud, man. And I don't think Cheyenne Bryant understands what she just did by hanging on to this doctor narrative. she literally just killed a social network of educated Black women that she could have benefited from in the future. But now when when you shame them or you act like we're stupid because we're listening to you and you saying you're not going to show it, those women are highly offended. They're offended that they had to go through the thousands of hours, clinical hours, all this type of stuff to get certified, but you're the woman who gets to shine. And you're not even credentialed. And we all know, I mentioned this before, and she actually mentioned it on the Breakfast Club right after I've dropped my video. Pretty privilege. It matters. And this is a prime example of it. Nobody ever questioned Dr. Bryant's credentials, well, Cheyenne Bryant's credentials, when she was going on these platforms, because they looking at her and like, man, she's an attractive woman. And I think this is a time where Black men need to remove the monetization piece, right? And stop her from going on these platforms with y'all, because that's going to be her safe haven. She's going to be like, I'm pretty, so, excuse me, these men are going to open up their platforms for me, even though Black women don't like me. And that's all bad, because it's going to be a weak move for Black men in these spaces, okay? So I know this is what's going to happen, because I don't want Black women to see that. Like, man, we agree with this foolery, all right? Because one thing that I noticed, like, she never puts women under a microscope like she did Shannon Sharp, Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, all those guys. She literally goes on the women's platforms just to talk. But for them, that's a session, other than B. Simone or whatever, right? That woman, she got her issues, but yeah. But Black men need to hold the line, and I see Dr. Umar is putting his bid in. He's, coming to the rescue for her. And then I also saw somebody say, well, Dr. Sebi wasn't a doctor, but y'all accepted him. I'm like, man, this woman is saying that she's a therapist. She said she used to be licensed, but she's not licensed now. That's a lot to say that you're a therapist and you're not really a therapist, man. And I mean, again, that's coming from a guy that went to therapy for 5 years straight. Okay. So I know how important it is and how beneficial it is. And this month is Men's Mental Health Month. So, I mean, it just, it was some resources that I found from Black women that I definitely want to check out some of their videos, based off of this situation here. But I don't think, Cheyenne Bryant understands what she just did there. You offended a lot of educated Black women that could have probably partnered with you or helped you if you would have just told the truth. Because obviously people still buying your book. Now they just, just waiting for you to say, hey, this is what it is, man. Just my opinion, but we'll see. So, I didn't miss all kinds of super chats. Yakking. Dante Bryant, Father Super just said, what's the app we're doing the challenge on? I gotta get a new phone, so I don't have it anymore. It's Better Health. I'll give you the name. Yeah, I've been watching. Better Together, my bad. Better Together app. Download that. Better Together app, and it is we got 49 days left. All right, Medium Man's Walk, Jog, Run Challenge. Okay, so you can find it over there. Thanks. And then HVAC Man, what up though? $5 bomb said Chris Rock wasn't lying. Black women who follow these types of men are enemies. Thank you for the super chat. And then HVAC Man, $5 super chat said white people know that this isn't true, and they know these types of Black people are embarrassing. They're not stupid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they know. HVAC Man, $5 super chat said it's time to remove Miss Bryant from these spaces. She's under investigation. We need a counter intel program for traders in the community. Yeah, I didn't know that she was under investigation. I just seen allegedly a Black woman, I guess, put in a request or something like that to get her credentials. But yeah, that's all I saw. See, Malik, what up though? $5 bomb said, you're right, Media Man. U.S. Department of Justice homicide victimization for 2023 just looked at the numbers. I'm shocked. Yeah, man. White people wilding out here. You know what I'm saying? The violent, arrests. Yeah, they killing it out here, man. I mean, for lack of a better word, but yeah, unfortunate, but yeah. Oliver, thank you for the $10 bomb. Oh man, give me a chance to play some of the ladies. There we go.
Now sing.
Thank you, Olu. Appreciate that. And then Casual Economist, member for 11 months. Thank you, brother. Almost at that year mark. Salute to you. Thank you. And then Essential Entities. Always like that name. Member for 27 months. Brother, you the GOAT. Your work is truly appreciated. Good man. Salute. Oh, thank you, brother. Salute to you, man. It's a very I got my American flag lapel pin on. It's a very sentimental day for me in regards to military service. Something happened very significant on the 15th of May. So let's see here. We got SSL. I'll say that 499 super chat said when it comes down to it, you just can't take women serious in this area. In this era, it's tough, man. It's tough. Air Force Reek $10 bomb said if you let Miss Bryant dominate the conversation, she will talk in circles and manipulate you into getting on her page. She is definitely throwing shots at her in this interview. Yeah, the back and forth was so classy, but I know black women, and I'm like, yeah, this woman, she had a conversation about this. I'm pretty sure. Let's see, is that Milton? $10 bomb said, we had a woman here in Detroit that put braces on people but was not licensed. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that, man. I don't know how people feel comfortable doing that, man. That's crazy. But which one did I miss? I got that one. Okay, Malik, $5 bomb said, call me Dr. Malik tomorrow at Media Man. I'm taking all insurances, Cash App, and Snap and available. Snap if applicable. Hey, man. I guess we could do whatever. So that's funny. Good to see Malik here. Casual Economist, $5 bomb said, a live session breaks. A live session breaks HIPAA law. She's a fraud. Yeah, but if she's not licensed, then it's just her talking. So I don't think she falls under HIPAA because she says she's not licensed. Now, if she was licensed and she said that was an actual session, a public session, then it would probably be a problem. But nah, man, I'm not sure if she's ever been licensed. Based off of all the stuff that you have to go through, and I'm going to contact my friend. She's a therapist, licensed therapist. And I'm pretty sure her story mirrors the other women as well. But yeah, man, it takes a lot to become a therapist because you kind of, effing with people's lives, man. You never know what somebody's going to say. And you got to be able to, navigate that. And yeah, it's a lot. That's a tough job. So, all right, let's go ahead and get out of here, man. I kept y'all till 9 o'clock. But again, man, hopefully this was, it was beneficial. Let's say that much. Because I know I've talked about this stuff before. I've did videos on it, all this type of stuff, man. But I think this is information that everybody needs to hear. In this breakdown like I did it, I think, once I clip some of this stuff up, it will definitely start to hit home because, the misinformation about Black fathers has to stop. And I'm understanding now that it's going to come from my platform. And I'm okay with that. Okay. So again, thank you to everybody that sent in super chats. Thank you, Olawa. Thank you, Pooh Man, for putting all the links in the description. Thank you, chat, for staying engaged. I know sometimes these types of live streams aren't as entertaining, and I get it. But hopefully you guys leave with some more knowledge about Black men, and it can actually help you in public conversations, either, in person or on social media. Okay, that's the overall goal, okay? So let's go ahead and get out of here, man. I'll leave y'all. Thought I had some good music. Yeah, people tend to like that cover. So I'll play that again. But again, until next time, be on the lookout for some more videos. I'm going to release some tomorrow, and you guys will have that for your viewing pleasure. But until next time, Media Man out. Peace. God bless. And please be safe out there, y'all. All right. It's a lot going on. Be safe. Peace out.
Some fun, it helps with the